faithfully delivering value, exploring global literary masterpieces. Hi, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today we're exploring the history of Imperial China, Qin and Han, chronicling the history of the Qin-Han empires. This 330,000-word book will be distilled to its core insights. How did China's first imperial era emerge? What political and social transformations shaped this era's legacy? Let's outline this historical framework. The Qin-Han period established China's centralized dynastic system, spanning 221 BCE to 220 CE, over 4 centuries of imperial consolidation. Qin ended Zhou's 800-year feudal system, initiating 2,000 years of imperial rule, though itself short-lived. Han inherited and expanded Qin's political foundations. Our analysis has 5 parts. First, why Qin succeeded in unification. What strategic advantages enabled Qin's triumph? Second, why Qin collapsed within decades and how Liu Bang treated its legacy. Third, China's global position during this era. What role did it play in contemporary civilizations? Fourth, socio-political transformations from Qin to Eastern Han. Fifth, intellectual and cultural developments of the period. First, why Qin achieved ultimate victory. Qin Shi Huang's 221 BCE unification was unprecedented. Paradoxically, Qin seemed least qualified for unification centuries prior. Why, as latecomers among Zhou vassal states, nearly 3 centuries late. Secondly, Qin's geographical disadvantages in modern Shanxi and Gansu regions, then considered periphery of Chinese civilization. Thirdly, Qin's cultural backwardness. During spring and autumn period, Duke Mu of Qin conducted mass human sacrifices, including respected officials. Thus, other states viewed Qin as barbarians. Given these factors, Qin's eventual triumph seems improbable. How did they succeed? The answer lies in 2 crucial reforms. First, Shang Yang's legalist reforms. Second, Fan Zhu's political restructuring. Why were these reforms pivotal? Shang Yang's reforms achieved military systematization. Fan Zhu's reforms established centralized authority. Shang Yang, noble from weakened Wei state seeking political opportunity. Finding patronage under Duke Xiao of Qin, he initiated sweeping reforms. Shang Yang's dual focus: agricultural expansion and military meritocracy. Qin's geographical challenges: sparse population and underdeveloped farmland. In agrarian society, these were critical weaknesses. Shang Yang's solutions encouraged immigration with land or housing incentives, mandated household division to increase farming units, productivity-based tax system, rewards for surplus, penalties for deficits. Military merit system transformed social hierarchy. Pre-Shang Yang era warfare as aristocratic privilege. Warfare involved mere hundreds, conducted with ritualistic formality rather than lethal intent. No, battles rarely lasted long in that era. The records show Qi's ruler once vowed, destroy them before breakfast, before battle, illustrating war's casual nature. This reflects remarkably low combat intensity. Shang Yang revolutionized this system, mobilizing masses through warfare incentives. He established strict meritocracy, social status determined solely by military achievements. Even nobles without battlefield merits lost privileges, including Qin Shi Huang's own sons. 20 military ranks were created, from Gongxi to Chehu, each with distinct privileges. This system achieved dual effects. First, breaking aristocratic monopolies, allowing commoners upward mobility. Second, transforming Qin into a militaristic state obsessed with warfare. Records show 960,000 enemies eliminated during King Zhaoshang's 56-year reign. The Harvard history highlights Fan Zhu's subsequent reforms. Fan Zhu, Dashwei native fleeing persecution. Wei, as in Three Kingdoms Wei, became King Zhaoshang's strategist. His reforms focused on royal centralization. Despite being king, Zhaoshang's power was diluted among relatives. Nobles holding military fiefdoms weakened central authority. Fan Zhu helped purge Queen Dowager Swan's faction, consolidating royal power. Second reform: strategic alliance with distant, attack nearby doctrine. Previous vague expansion attempts proved ineffective. The new strategy stabilized borders while enabling systematic conquests. Neighboring states faced relentless conquest until complete subjugation. Shang Yang empowered Qin's military machine. Fanzhou provided strategic coherence. Thus, the weak Qin rose to unified dominance under Qin Shi Huang. Qin Shi Huang envisioned eternal dynastic succession, yet the empire collapsed within years of his death. What caused Qin's rapid collapse? How did Liu Bang treat Qin's political legacy? Well, here's the crucial analysis. Part 2, The Fall. Traditional explanations cite brutal policies. Epping Palace, Great Wall, massive conscriptions. Chen Shengwu Guang Rebellion, sparked by draconian punishment for weather-delayed mobilization. While factual, these reflect systemic flaws beyond mere tyranny. Qin's fatal error, applying provincial governance methods to imperial scale. Military logistics feasible in compact Qin territory became impossible empire-wide. The delay equals death law proved disastrous when scaling up. Qin's institutional rigidity prevented necessary adaptation. Mass projects maintained military discipline, not imperial extravagance. Harvard history reveals Qin's radical concept. Idle citizens become societal parasites. All energy must fuel state machinery. War and production. Surplus resources were weaponized against rival states. Ununification left only border conflicts with Shonu and Baiyu. What to do with surplus resources and labor? Redirect them into massive construction projects. Qin's fatal flaw, applying provincial governance methods to imperial administration. Deeper conflict, clash of historical paradigms, public rejection of the imperial system, common misconception, labeling pre-1912 China as feudal society. This constitutes historical terminology misuse. True feudalism existed pre-Qin unification, primarily during Zhou Dynasty. Qin Shi Huang's true achievement, transition from feudalism to imperial system. Defining feudalism. Defining imperial system. Feudalism meant enfeoffment. King Wu's post-Shan conquest established vassal states. Zhou kings delegated regional governance to nobles and meritorious officials. These lords further subdivided territories among their own retainers. Final recipients Daifu maintained undivided estates. Crucially, vassals held complete autonomy over military, judicial, and fiscal matters. Hereditary succession applied at all levels, creating semi-independent domains, effectively autonomous states with nominal obligations to superiors. This defined the feudal system, resulting in fragmented power structures and regional strongholds. The imperial system reversed this through centralization, replaced hereditary lords with appointed officials lacking military or fiscal powers. Imperial bureaucracy, non-hereditary posts subject to central appointment and transfer. This dissolved traditional state boundaries, eliminating hereditary aristocracy, leaving only imperial lineage. Why did Qin Shi Huang implement imperial system? Historical inevitability drove this transformation. Late warring states' demands, flood control and New defense required centralized power. Human mentality often lags behind systemic changes. Imperial system faced skepticism. Millennia-old feudalism versus untested bureaucracy. Former Chu nobles resenting demotion to Qin commoners. Wait, how did we become Qin's commoners overnight? The rebels sought restoration of pre-Qin states, not imperial overthrow. Self-proclaimed kings revived former state titles. Chu, Qi, Zhao. Shang Yu epitomized this restorationist mentality. Post-Qin collapse, Shang Yu established 18 kingdoms. Brief feudal restoration. Liu Bang ultimately adopted imperial system after defeating Shang Yu, establishing centralized bureaucracy. Thus, Liu Bang became Qin Shi Huang's political heir. Early Han Compromise, hybrid imperial feudal system. Emperor Wu finally abolished principalities through centralization policies. Part 2 concludes here. Qin's rapid collapse post-unification. Liu Bang perpetuated imperial system, blueprint for 2 millennia. Thus emerged Eurasia's eastern superpower, vast, cultured, and enduring. This formidable civilization attracted global attention while shaping world history through its unique approach. Part 3, Global Context. Where did Qin Han Empire stand in contemporary world civilization? Qin Shi Huang unified the Huanghe Yangtze cultural sphere, as mentioned earlier. What was the global landscape during this era? Contemporary Eurasian powers, Eastern Han, Western Rome, and Parthian Empire controlling Iranian plateau. Three empires dominated Eurasian order. Understanding this tripartite structure is crucial. Chinese frontier expansion often manifested as military confrontations. This brings us to Han's primary adversary, the Xiongnu. Chinese agrarian civilization focused on fertile lands below climate boundaries. The Great Wall marked both cultural and climatic frontier. Not coincidental. Along 400 millimeters precipitation is a pleth. Northward lay nomadic territories. Xiongnu nomads initially lacked political unity, frequently raiding south. Warring states' kingdoms defended against northern tribal incursions. Qin Shi Huang's northern campaign pushed Xiongnu 700 li, 350 kilometers northward. During Qin's collapse emerged Modu Chanyu, ruthless Xiongnu leader. Modu secured power through patricide and concubine sacrifice. His conquests created First Step Empire, absorbing Donghu and western regions. As Modu unified steppes, Liu Bang established Han south of the wall. Liu Bang marched north to suppress rebellious lords, eventually confronting the Xiongnu. Outmatched by Modu, Liu Bang was besieged on Baidang Mountain for 7 days. Though escaping through stratagem, Han entered prolonged subservience to Xiongnu. This humiliating status lasted nearly a century. Emperor Wu finally challenged Xiongnu through multiple northern expeditions, ultimately splitting them into southern, subjugated, and northern, migrating west factions, whose descendants would later terrorize Europe as Attila's Huns. Initially, Emperor Wu lacked confidence in military victory. Hearing of Wei Qi's enmity with Xiongnu, he sought Western allies against them. But Yuezhi's location remained mysterious to Han. Explorer Zhang Qian was dispatched westward, eventually locating Yuezhi. This mission's significance transcended military strategy. Pre-modern civilizations maintained limited contact despite proximity. Though sporadic trade existed, Han and Rome remained mutually ignorant superpowers. Zhang Qian's expeditions initiated cultural exchange. Foreign envoys reaching Central Plains revealed Han's existence to Western civilizations. Second expedition nearly reached Africa via Central Asia. Zhang Qian's journeys established Eurasian civilizational links beyond commerce. Roman Empire reciprocated by sending multiple embassies to Han. Thus, Zhang Qian's path became Eurasia's cultural corridor, not just trade route. While opening Western Silk Road, Han solidified as Eastern civilization hub. Northern nomads accepted Han's suzerainty post-Xiongnu collapse. Korean Peninsula and Vietnam regions fell under Han control. Central Plains civilization flourished here, profoundly influencing later cultures in these regions. Japan across the sea, then in its formative civilizational stage, sent envoys to pay tribute and receive Han titles. The golden seal inscribed Han Vassal King of Na remains preserved in Fukuoka City Museum. Rural groups like Qiang Southwest, Wu Huan Northeast, and Southern tribes gradually embraced Chinese cultural influence. Having examined Han's global context, we now explore Part 4, Internal Transformations. What socio-political transformations occurred within Qin-Han empires? How did these changes shape subsequent history? Qin Shi Huang's abolition of feudalism eliminated traditional aristocracy. Liu Bang, minor official, Xiao He, clerk, and Kaohsiung jailer, unexpectedly formed new quasi-aristocracy. Meritocratic nobility emerged through military or political achievements. Though non-hereditary in theory, privileges became de facto inheritable. Chancellor Zhoubo's son, Zhou Yafu, inherited his position, illustrating systemic nepotism. This constituted functional nobility, second pseudo-aristocracy. Liu imperial plan. Post-victory, Liu Bang adopted hybrid system, initially infeoffing lords, then eliminating them. replaced by Liu family members. These Liu princes replicated Zhou feudal lords' autonomy. Their descendants maintained significant privileges for centuries. Three Kingdoms era Liu Biao. Liu Zhang leveraged Han princely lineage 200 years later. Liu Bai's imperial lineage claim provided crucial legitimacy. Both aristocracies ceased threatening imperial power by Emperor Wu's reign. Emperor Wu appointed commoners like Gongsun Hong, breaking unwritten meritocratic privileges. Meanwhile, Emperor Wu empowered imperial in-laws like Wei Qing, Wu Kubing, and Li Guanli to establish commoner-led governance. Through decree of enfeoffment, he forced princes to divide territories among all sons, gradually weakening their power, resulting in progressive diminishment of individual principalities. Emperor Wu also exploited pretexts to revoke noble titles, once stripping over 100 titles using substandard tribute gold as excuse. Romance of Three Kingdoms explains Liu Bei's Lao pens through ancestral gold quality incident. Thus, both meritocratic and imperial aristocracies faded from prominence. Emerging new social class, powerful local clans, the Haozu gentry. What defined these gentry clans? Families wielding prefectorial level influence, often rivaling central appointed officials. Han prefectures, approximately modern prefecture level cities. These clans sometimes overpowered local magistrates. Eastern Han founder Lu Shu and his supporters originated from such gentry backgrounds. Their pre-existing resources gave decisive advantage during civil wars. These clans engaged in land grabbing and tax evasion, undermining state interests. How did this class emerge? This traces to Han's official selection system, precursor to later imperial exams. Imperial examination system only formalized in Sui Tang era. Han used recommendation-based Chaozhou system. Local officials nominated candidates based on perceived virtue or talent. After basic evaluations, nominees entered bureaucracy, creating gentry networks. Thus, official appointments depended not on merit, but connections and patronage. This evolved into systemic nepotism. Recommenders prioritized family, then protégés, finally others. Those recommended owed political favors to their patrons. Though nominally non-hereditary, bureaucracy became clan-controlled through generations. These became the gentry clans, de facto aristocracy. Yuan Shao's family produced 3 grand counselors for 4 generations. Their network covered all under heaven, disciples and appointees everywhere. Such political clout was unmatched, with countless minor clans emulating this model. The pseudo-aristocracy fundamentally shaped historical trajectories. As we'll explore later, their role in Han's fall and Jin's decline was pivotal. Their dominance persisted until Han Dynasty's reforms. Through this analysis, the pattern becomes clear. Gentry clans monopolized political or economic resources through inherited access. This structural shift precipitated ideological transformations, which brings us to Part 5, Intellectual Evolution. What ideological changes occurred during Qin Han era? Qin adopted legalist philosophy, Sun Yang's reforms. Legalists sought total state control through codified laws. As history shows, this extremism doomed Qin's longevity. Liu Bang cautiously avoided overt legalist policies. Post-war desolation, abandoned fields, even imperial carriage horses lacked matching coats. Thus Liu Bang adopted Huang Lao thought, Taoist philosophy emphasizing minimal governance and recuperation. This policy brought rapid recovery. Granaries overflowed with rotting surplus grains. Enter Emperor Wu, determined to defeat Shan through centralized power. Military campaigns required unprecedented resource mobilization capabilities. Thus, Emperor Wu sought ideological justification for expanded imperial authority. The laissez-faire Huang Lao approach became obsolete for new imperial ambitions. Confucianism emerged as replacement state philosophy. Dan Zhangshu's mandate of heaven theory elevated imperial authority with cosmic responsibility. Emperor Wu proclaimed, discard 100 schools, honor Confucianism alone as new policy. This meant purging non-Confucian advisors, not eliminating other philosophies. Nevertheless, Confucianism gradually dominated intellectual life. The Imperial Academy trained 30,000 Confucian scholars by late Western Han. Eastern Han further solidified Confucian dominance through gentry scholar networks. Emperors personally presided over scholarly debates, unprecedented imperial involvement. Meanwhile, Buddhism and Taoism began rising as alternative traditions. Buddhism entered China via Silk Road around 1st century CE. Taoism developed institutional structures influenced by Buddhist models. Early Taoist movements like Taiping and Wudumi emerged during Three Kingdoms era. These socio-political and ideological transformations would continue evolving, awaiting future historical analysis. All right, that concludes our exploration of Harvard History of China, Qin and Han. Study notes are below. Until next time with another great book.